Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gon of Work to Live podcast version, and this application isn't working well this time, but actually, I tried to create an episode, but actually, I don't know whether this is a problem of network or not. I mean, I don't know whether this is a problem of the Wi-Fi in this place or not. But actually, this application has recovered. So which is why I'm going to start this recording of podcast, and this time I'm not thinking of creating a long time of episode, and I'm thinking of finishing this episode for a brief time, and so which is why in most cases I free in most cases or in most episodes of this podcast, so I have digressed, and I have spoken many stories which are not related to the main tracks of those episodes, but actually I'm thinking of and this is to start with. I think this is a digression. So, and most of the episodes of my podcast are rambling episodes or rambling ones. But actually, anyway, I'm thinking of talking about how should I say, the conclusion of this episode. And wait a moment, please. And this time, and I think I don't know whether you have already noticed about or not, but actually, capitalism is not omnipotent society or omnipotent principle. But actually, which means, anyway, I should tell you the title and the conclusion of this episode. And the title is Lucky Slaves and Unlucky Capitalists. And the conclusion is capitalism doesn't always make happiness. And not first of all, anyway, how should I say? It's controversial, but actually, black people. Please imagine black people. They were given human rights after the civil war in the United States of America. Yes, there's a war called the civil war, and in which the belligerents were the United States of America and the Confederacy. Confederacy is, how should I say, I forgot the abbreviation of the con, of the cons of the not conspiracy, but confederacy, or maybe the name of the southern group was the Confederate States of America, maybe. So the northern one, the northern group was the northern belligerent was the United States of America, and the southern belligerent, the southern belligerent was the Confederate States of America, not did I say conspiracy? But actually, the Confederate States of America was CSU, not CSU, but CSA has been called the Confederacy. Yes, I think this is the correct name for the Confederacy. And the Confederacy supported the slavery, but actually, please imagine, really foolish people, or foolish black Americans, or black American boys, or black American girls, and please imagine that their intellectual levels as those of this intellectually disabled people. Please imagine. Which means, please imagine. I'm sorry. I'm not segregating black people. Some black people are smart, and other black people are not so smart. And this is the case to many Asian people. I live in Japan, and my mother tongue is Japanese, and of course, this is the case to my country. And some Japanese people are smart, and other Japanese people are not so smart. And anyway, it's up to you which group I'm going to be categorized into. But actually, it's up to your it's up to your judgment. Anyway, but actually, they are just sort of dual people. And but actually, this is I think this is also controversial. But actually, black people has some huge population of intellectually disabled people. Or, black people have some cohort or some population of people lower intellectual levels. So lower, black people has some huge population of people with low levels of intelligences. But actually, so for such people, some people do not know how to use money. So so there, in the case of slaves, for example, I'm sorry for my using this term, but actually, so some people some people are, for example, anyway, which is why, so I asked you to imagine the intellectually disabled people. Some of them do not know how to use money. So meaning that, so if they are given money, I mean, if they are given after they are having gotten human rights, please imagine such a situation. And they got money, but actually they lost the places to sleep or the places to work, and which is because they are given human rights, and they are not they were not slaves anymore. So which is why, please imagine such an intellectually disabled people with human rights, or intellectually disabled black people or black girls and black boys with human rights, and nobody can confine them as slaves, which is why they need to release those people. And I mean, so there are those black people those black people were released from, for example, farms or other agricultural places, for example. Please imagine such a situation, which means those black people do not have places to be accommodated, or they lost their own residences. Please imagine such a situation. So which means, the owners of slaves. The owners of slaves had to pay money for those workers, and so black people became workers, or black slaves had become workers back then. So which is why, the owners need to pay extra amount of money. So please imagine such a situation. And but actually, which is why those owners so in such a case, some of those owners, or most of those owners would have would have needed to to how should I say, so lay off some black people or black slaves. When hiring or when employing people, so they need to, so paychecks or wages are really high, compared with other types of costs. So which is why, so some slaves would have lost their places for sleeping, or for eating food. So in such a case, for such people, getting money is really good, but getting money is really good, but actually, so if those slaves do not know how to use money, so if those slaves did not know how to use money, that situation would be would have been a hell. For example, if those, I mean, I made a mistake in the use of the tense. So if those black people in the past hadn't hadn't known how to use money, the situation would have been a hell for those released, or those relieved black people. So but actually, so in the case of capitalists, they work hard for getting money. This is a case, of course. So of course, there are some people who can get money without working, but actually, there are, so huge numbers of people work hard for becoming capitalists, or for becoming rich people. But to start with, most rich people work really so hard. So which is why, so if they can enjoy working, so that's fine. But actually, if those capitalists are threatened to work, and so I don't know whether this term is correct or not. But actually, so some people are cowards, and some people are, how should I say, some people are cowards, and some people are afraid of losing money. So which is why they work. So losing money, well, not losing money, but actually the fear of losing money sometimes become motives, or sometimes become motives for working for some people, which is the case to some rich people. So which is why, in such a case, those rich people have a lot of money, but actually, well, those rich people must have huge huge amounts of assets, but actually they are afraid of losing them, and in which case, that situation can be a hell, or situation can be an agony for those rich people, and which is why, so in such a case, so capitalism has made many people made many people unfortunate or unfortunate, and or it's possible to say that the capital it's possible to say that in some conditions, or in some places, the capitalism has has made many people unhappy, which is possible to say, which is what I like you to know this time. So anyway, this is all the stuff, and so why I'm really bad at why I'm bad at explaining things is that one of the reasons is that and as I have already told you, that I'm a non-native speaker of English language, which is why so I'm really bad at speaking English, and anyway, and another factor is that I'm really bad at explaining things, and so I frequently digress, and to start with, I'm a native speaker of English language, which is why I have to concentrate on my pronunciation, and particularly, and not particularly, but actually, so anyway, my mother tongue doesn't distinguish the sounds or the pronunciations of L and R, which is why, so I have to be careful of the distinction between L and R when it comes to speaking out English words, and anyway, so this is because of these reasons, I'm really bad at explaining things, and anyway, this is all the stuff I'd like you to know this time. So I'm going to end this episode. Well, I'm going to finish this episode. Wait a moment, please. The title is Lucky Slaves and Unlucky Capitalists, and the conclusion is capitalism doesn't always make happiness. And anyway, so this is over. So if you are, and by the way, if you live in China, and I think this is that is a country of communism, but actually, in reality, that is a country of capitalism, and that's, I think, mainland China is closer to capitalism than closer to one of capitalism than my country is. So anyway, so that's it. Thank you very much for listening. See you.